endorsed by Trump and endorsed at the last minute by Governor Brian Kemp. Trump and Kemp on the same side here. Jackson, the self-funding businessman, poured a ton into this race, running as sort of a popular...
All right, everyone, we are live with the election results from June 16, 2026.
So take a look at Fulton County, right? Saying he's got about 4 points of pad. What was his number here in the preliminary? Jones's number in Fulton County in the preliminary was 47. 14 points off in the first match of vote. Wow, Rick Jackson, that is super.
But yeah, things are looking really good at the beginning for Rick Jackson over Burt Jones. Jones, the candidate endorsed by both Trump and Kemp.
Jones's number here was 45 in the preliminary. Remember, we think he's got about 4 points of pad, give or take double digits off that. These are big, big counties here. Floyd County, okay? Look at this. Jackson by 23 points. What was the number here in the preliminary? The two-way share for Jones was 55. Sorry about it. 55 was the two-way share for Jones, down to 38. So, wow. I mean, just zooming out here.
Yeah, you've got...
percent in right now.
Burt Jones is really...
These are spectacular numbers for you early. Get down here. This is the bit Chatham County.
Yeah.
Where Savannah is. Okay, so in the preliminary, the Jones share here, the two-way was 57. He's at again. He's well below.
Jones is actually not doing as well as he had done. They took some votes from Jones.
Jones's number here was 59. He's 12 points. It's just very consistent here. Lowndes County, where Valdosta is, this is a fair amount of vote here. The Jackson share here was 70. Oh my gosh, was 72. The two-way share between them.
Wow, Lowndes County is 72 to 38. It's still too early to call. 12% in statewide, but Jackson's at 60% and Jones is only at 39.
Is the early vote, right? The election day vote is the vote that tends to be the more pro-Trump, the more pro-MAGA. Okay, Trump has endorsed Jones, so if that's going to really show itself, the election.
Let me just see if I can try and figure out.
But this is setting up where he's got to do.
When they.
We're already seeing he's got to do a lot better with the election day vote. And keep in mind. We say Trump endorsed Jones yesterday, or it might have been 2 days ago, but in the last 2 days, Donald Trump Jr. publicly said, basically, Rick Jackson's okay. He said, and he said, either way, he says, not an endorsement, but either way, whether it's Jones or Jackson, MAGA wins. That was Donald Trump Jr. basically.
Wow.
So there's indications of that certainly in what we're looking at from these results. Let's get back over to that Senate page here. 12%.
Senate race for Georgia. The difference is just 206 between Collins and Dooley, 12% in. Still a whole bunch we're expecting from Fulton County and Cobb County.
Let's just look through. Again, I think the best thing we can do here is look at that trend that we established, right? That Collins he can probably afford to run about 7 points. In any given county, he can probably afford to run about 7 points worse than he did in the two-way vote in the preliminary. So we're just going to run through a series of...
I mean, I'm hearing Collins can run 7 points. I think if you're Collins, you can run about maybe 5 points behind in each county.
Okay, just one county here, but this is a tiny... showed you... okay, here we go. Collins is running at 47%. And what was the number here for him? It was 52. 52 down to 47, right? So it's only a 5-point drop. We're seeing drops, but we're not seeing them necessarily of the magnitude. Again,
Mm-hmm.
kind of getting into his congressional districts here. These are small.
Yeah.
I showed you Oconee County. Barrow County, okay, this is a pretty good one.
Barrow County, 42% in, and the difference is 5. Because that is an area Collins represents. Dooley's leading by 5 votes, but down 10 points there. Where are they analyzing now? Jackson County. You got 55 down to 47. Again, they say 7. I say 5 is how much he can afford to slippage he can afford if he wants to advance to the general for the Senate primary runoff.
This is right there, just outside Atlanta here. And again, Collins got 48% here in the preliminary. He's running at 40%. We showed you Forsyth. Adam, what am I missing? Some big stuff here. What's the biggest one I'm not showing right now?
I was just taking a look. I was trying to look for election day vote.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, this is a good size one. This is where Warner Robins is.
Okay.
And we got the early vote housing.
Houston County, you've got Collins up at 65%, but he's at 65%, but in the original he ran at 74.
Early vote, we have Collins winning at 60-40, and the election day vote, he's winning at 69-31.
Okay.
So, that's roughly how many votes are we talking about election day there?
That's
how much
election day votes
for 600?
Early votes.
Okay, no, I appreciate that, and it's a small number, but that is.
It is something.
Early vote was 20. This is,
going if you're running 9 points ahead on election day vote,
that's kind of what we saw in the
it's
primary.
turning into an interesting.
Kind of what we've been seeing, that trend of the Trump candidate, the pro-Trump, the Trump-backed candidates doing much better in the election day vote. It's small. It's not necessarily what it's going to be here, but we have reason to suspect it's going to be. And we now have one county where it's showing up that way. And that's a long way of saying that's the case.
Mind you, we don't have much election day vote in. And only 14% of the precincts are reporting.
I was just taking you through the final numbers. There are some big counties there where Dooley is getting the number he want to see at the end of the night. And there are some good-sized counties there where Collins is getting just what he would need at the end of the night. But if that's what it looks like when we're basically looking at early vote, and the election day vote's going to be anything like what Adam just showed you, then it's advantage Collins. And it's advantage Collins in a big way. So that's becoming already the big question here. Is there any kind of a...
I'm excited for them to flip back over to the governor's race to see what's still going on.
Do you have comparable numbers for the governor's race? Are we seeing any kind of a difference?
Yeah.
I mean, you could...
we can revisit. Let's see.
Still Jackson by 20 in the governor's race.
Buckley
County. By 19. 59.5 to 40.5. So far, the only ones are the governor and the Senate in Georgia where polls have closed. Senate is Rick Jackson by 20 points with not much election vote. But the election day vote shows Jones up by 8. By 20 points, by 20 percentage points. In the Senate race, you've got Derek Dooley up over Mike Collins by 1 point or about 30 or 3,000 votes. Yeah.
I'm just going to give you an example. This is some extrapolation until we have more of the election day vote that we can really dive into. But the Jones number in Forsyth County, right, was 46. Okay, in the preliminary. Okay, it was the two-way number was 54-46 for Jackson over Jones. As you can see right now in the early vote, it's running at 66-34
No.
for Jackson, 32 points. If what Adam just told you holds, though, then the election day vote will be running at a 16-point margin. It would be 50.
I find it very unlikely that it will happen, but it's not impossible.
You know, 34, 30. Jones would be coming.
Never.
Boy.
Wow.
Yeah. Jones would be.
Ties are unlikely.
That's what were to happen. Jones would end up in the high 30s in a place like Forsyth. And again, he's got to pass.
That is true.
He can probably afford to finish with about 42% of the vote right here. Currently, he's running at 34. If he were getting the kind of improvement with the same day vote that I just told you, he's getting one small county, that number would come up. That same day vote would come to 42. You would blend the two of them together. This number would rise close. It's telling you very, very roughly, it's telling you that Jones is getting substantial same day improvement. So while these are dream early numbers for Jackson, now it's a big question. If what we saw in that one county is going to happen in other counties with the same day vote. That's what has to happen across the board for Jones. At least that is what has to happen across the board. Because we've shown you already these early numbers have been we got Columbia County here. This is a pretty good sized one. We got early vote in Columbia County, just north of Augusta here, sort of
Okay.
suburbs. And
Columbia County shows Jackson up by 9 points, 488 votes separating them. But Jones, although he's only at 45% countywide, 56% on last time. So Ware County, Georgia Tech, but I don't think they did. Ware County. I mean, it's not impossible.
So that's the question. We're giving you the early vote right here. We got a ton of same day vote to come. If that same day vote is substantially net 16 points, for instance, as we saw in one county, more for Jones, he can do that. He can get to that number that he wants in Columbia. So this is setting up a really interesting dynamic right here. Take a look. Houston County, Warner Robins, we showed you this in the Senate race. Again, it's 54-46 here. What was the Jones number here in the primary? It was 57 to 57-46. But again, we still got more than half the vote to come, and that vote is going to think. It's the expected vote. It's an estimate. But if that vote is much more pro-Jones, he can't get to his number there. So zoom out. We got 15% statewide.
Okay.
The story right now is that Jackson is
19% statewide, actually. Jackson up with the early vote, difference 26,000. Georgia is one of the most populous states in the country, though.
The value of the Trump endorsement, because we know that those election day voters tend to be the most hardcore pro-Trump Republican voters. Are they following Trump's heat here, Trump Sr.'s heat, and going big time for Jones? Were they swayed by what Donald Trump Jr. said the other night? So that's the question here. Adam, shout if you have any. I think we got Gwinnett.
Ooh.
This is a huge.
This I need to see. Gwinnett County is going to be a huge vote batch here. 15,000 votes are in. It's going to be currently shows Jackson up by 10,000 or with 10,712 votes. Jones is only at 932. Why isn't Harris? I just thought about that. Houston County. I mean, it does. What county? This is Gwinnett County. This is a suburb of Atlanta that leans Republican, I believe.
Either one of these races, but I think governor's race is honestly either one. Any same day stuff you have. I want to see Gwinnett here in the Senate race. Okay, so Derek.
In the Senate race, there it shows Dooley up with 9,759 up over Collins's 6,798. Gwinnett County, only 42% is in. We're expecting more vote from there, but I'm expecting a big number. Possibly.
Say again. Okay, folks, that was the people in the room talking in the ear. Just remember, if you've been watching this, our News Now team is doing, their news shows tonight. They wanted to check in with us. This is Tom Yamas, this is Top Stories. About 2 minutes from now, we're going to do a hit with them. I think they wanted to ask about California. We may go a little bit away from this, but I promise you we're going to come right back to it. It's going to be like a 2-minute hit. We'll be right back to doing it. In the meantime, let's just, again, Gwinnett County, 47% was Collins' share. Was his two-way shot.
They do.
We think he's got about 7 points.
159.
You know, that's about where he can afford to be. That's the low end. At the
Okay,
end of the night.
we're getting
Collins is there or above in Gwinnett.
some results in
And what we're waiting on
from
that same-day vote is substantially
we're getting a little bit of Fulton because I've also got a website pulled up. We're getting a little bit of Fulton same day, and it's showing the same pattern, and we're getting some Butts same day, same pattern, and a little bit of Gwinnett there. Probably.
So, okay, folks, again, let's see here. What can I show you in the last minute?
We're getting Forsyth, and we're getting some from Polk, and we're getting some from Rockdale, and everything's showing the same pattern of Collins and Jones doing better on the same day. We got Long and Wayne as well. And those are in Buddy Carter's congressional district. Carter, who came in third. Exactly. I'm expecting Fulton County to have most of the votes tonight from Georgia in the Georgia one.
Jackson's having monster numbers in the election in the early, meaning Jones needs monster numbers.
Yep. Gwinnett, what we've got from Gwinnett is a lot, both with 1 million. And they both, I believe, are the two counties with the most registered Republicans in the state.
We're back now, and polls have just closed in a critical runoff election in Georgia. Two Republicans battling it out for their party's nomination to try to flip a Senate seat red in November. And if it's election night, Steve Kornacki is at the big board. So, Steve, Congressman Mike Collins has the endorsement of President Trump. He's up against the former football coach Derek Dooley. One of them will go head-to-head with Democrat John Ossoff in the general election. What do we see so far? Yeah, look, it's close so far here between Collins and Dooley. You see about 20% of the vote is counting. The key right now.
Okay, we are currently on something of a break of the results coming in on my Kornacki cam. So I'm just looking through to see if there's any more election day vote coming in. Is this U.S. Senate Class 3?
Right now, this is an extremely competitive race in what we're seeing with the early vote. If that election
Or governor?
to be more pro-Trump, responds to Trump's call to Republicans to get behind Collins, he should be able to pull away here. But that's an open question right now because we're not really
Presidential, okay.
Now what we're looking at is a very competitive race. All right, and then before you go, there's a heated Senate battle for the GOP in Alabama. What are you going to be watching for there? Yeah,
Oh, I forgot about that. I'll add this now.
less than an hour. Another test of the Trump endorsement. Trump endorsing Congressman Barry Moore. Barry Moore finished first in the preliminary. This is a runoff. Jared Hudson had finished second. He's sort of a conservative, grassroots sort of insurgent figure here. He finished a distant second.
We're almost all the county.
Preliminary.
Right.
Clear geographical contours here. Moore's
Correct. Fulton County is basically Atlanta. There's a little smidge out of it, but most of the vote is from Fulton is coming from Atlanta, population-wise. Yeah, and again, for Alabama, yeah, as they said, it's going to be just a city, and that's the city of Huntsville.
All right, folks, there we go. So, while we were doing that, as you can see, we've ticked up to 24%
All right,
here in the Senate.
Collins has overtaken Dooley.
Collins and Dooley have kind of been trading positions there. Show you the governor's race, what that looks like. So, I mean, first of all, just a clear difference between these races. We're looking at the same pool of votes, of ballots that they in one of them, it's working out even in one so far. In the other,
Yeah, they vote. Yeah, Webster County.
I do not
14 in the election.
do not know the smallest county in Georgia by population.
Just looking at was 54, 46, 8
in the pre-election.
Yeah, and then it was 55, 45 for Jones in the election day.
Wait, okay, Jackson plus 8.
Okay. Lag. Yeah. I do not know the smallest county in Georgia by population.
Wow, okay.
Those were the two counties I was looking at. There's a couple other small counties. Let's see if we can.
We're seeing big swings here, yeah.
Yeah, so Greene County is another one.
It's the least populated.
It was 56,
Will make sense because I don't know where that is in Georgia.
in the election day, this is still this was not all in,
Right.
But Jones is leading that 55, 45.
So it's 27. The swing is 22 points. The swing is 18 points. Right?
I do not know everything about each county. There are not a lot.
That's the net swing that we're seeing.
There are a lot.
Direction. The difference now in 3 counties here that we're getting these election day results from versus the early vote. So wow, just numbers we saw, those initial returns of the early voting were dream numbers for Jackson.
Okay.
Election day vote numbers that we're seeing are dream numbers for Jones. So this is now netting out.
So this is gonna be probably in. This could be in Collins's district. Let me check. Yes, this is Collins's district. For the Senate race. Wow. But yeah, this is Collins's area in that would be Crawfordville. So that is the county we've not seen much from yet. But it could.
Same day vote is swinging the way Adam just described it. If that's extending to a place like Cherokee County, that's one thing. Adam was just showing us
What's in this district of Collins where he's going to get his best bet are the following counties: Barrow, Butts, Clark, Albert, Franklin, Greene, Gwinnett, partially, Hancock, Hart, Henry, Jasper, Madison, Morgan, Newton, Albany, Oglethorpe, Putnam, Taliaferro, Walton, Wilkes. And it's only part of Newton County, part of Henry County, and just a smidge of Gwinnett County.
But again, we need to see that in some bigger places. And I'm just taking it again, Dawson County here. Take a look. Early vote, right? Half the vote. Jackson.
And that's going to be Collins's best area tonight.
Jones number in Dawson County. In the preliminary, he lost the 2 at 46, right? 46 down to 34. So again, it's a very consistent pattern that we've seen in these results. We got Bibb County where Macon is. I see we got about a quarter of the vote.
I think it's one of the
53-47 Jackson Jones. The Jones number here was 60.
I don't know the names of all of Alaska's. I could probably point it out if I pulled up a map, which I'm not going to do because we're getting a bunch of results in, including a bunch from Bibb.
So that was 60. He could probably afford to land, give or take, at 50.
Where Burt Jones is getting only 47% of the election, and that's Bibb County's not a lot, but it's something that you'd like to have.
Still pretty substantial in a Republican primary. Probably 1.5% of the vote will come out here. Half the vote here, early vote, Jackson with a 5-point margin.
I mean, it could be Yukon Koyukuk. Yep.
The Jones number here was 62, right?
I ended up having to pull up a map
He probably wants to get to 55 here. So half the vote.
because the only states that I can possibly label on a map by county are Delaware. Could probably do Rhode Island, and I could probably do Washington, maybe Hawaii, maybe Idaho, but that'd be a big ask.
Target here tonight. But what Adam is telling us, at least from the small counties where we're seeing this, is that's not out of the question.
I can probably identify maybe 10 counties in most states.
A little bit more than a quarter in here. Gubernatorial primary, that's the dynamic. Go over to the Senate side here. Okay, 26%. So it's not it's now a 45
Yep.
vote margin, as you see there.
And I can also label all 8 wards of Washington, D.C. Speaking of D.C., exit poll that I saw today of the voters who were voting shows Bowser's approval rating dipping below 45. It was at 44, 40. Excuse me. DC 44 or 43.
He's got a pad there of about 7 points. So, where does he want to? He's just south. He's a tick below where he wants to be, with half the votes still to come. He probably, I'd say 52 would be a good target for him here. He's at 51, okay? But if that second half of the vote is like at all better for Collins than the first half, he'll hit that target. And if it's substantially better, he'll blow by that target. Again, that continues to be the dynamic. I don't think did we look at Cherokee here? This is the big one. Okay, Cherokee County here in the Senate race. Again, 55-45 right now. Dooley over Collins with that early vote. The Collins two-way share here in the preliminary. You got more votes than Dooley up here. You got 50. Like this. Again, you got 52.
Okay. Cherokee County. We have some election day. Was called up Aquinimac County, which was in Middletown. Prediction. I'm gonna have to look that up at some point.
These are like sort of, what would you say? Prospectively, the numbers you're seeing kind of across the board here in this Senate race, in the Senate runoff, are prospectively good for Collins, better for Collins than Dooley. What Dooley needs to have a shot here is something that we really haven't seen in these primaries so far, and that is that that election day vote, in a Republican primary, doesn't substantially shift towards the Trump endorsed, Trump aligned candidate. And again, any more election day vote we got, Adam?
Not at this second.
Okay, you'll flag anything we get there, right?
Yep.
Okay, because that's the question of the hour. It is, what are we looking at there? I think had we shown you Columbia in the Senate race, suburbs here of Augusta. I don't. Forgive me if I would. I think I went through on the governor's side. Do you remember?
I don't remember. Richmond and Paulding were the ones that just came over.
Okay, Richmond, Paulding results. I don't think that's
okay. So Paulding's a pretty good size here.
Going to be notable. I mean, Paulding is, I believe, an Atlanta suburb. Yeah.
Slightly ahead here in the early count, and the Collins number here was 52 in the preliminary. And again, he won the two-way share pretty handily over Dooley in the preliminary, meaning he could come down off that preliminary number and still be okay. He probably can come down to about 45%. He's already at 49.
Yep, that's one of the ones that I am waiting for, or that I'm glad that we have. Because Collins is not leading in Butts County, Georgia right now. And that's his own, I think that might be his home. No, it's not his home county, but it's his home district in the 10th. And it's one that, and I think he needs to pretty much win out his district and manage to keep getting more of Buddy Carter's district.
We still have, some blank counties here, but we've had some pretty big ones. I'll tell you, the big one we have not heard from is right here. Cobb County. Cobb County.
Yeah, the big, as you just said, the big vote thing that I'm still waiting for is Cobb.
I think about 7% of votes statewide here in this Republican runoff are going to come out here. We haven't heard from them yet. Obviously, look all around it. You can expect probably a pretty safe bet that'll be a duly shade of pink when it lights up initially. But again, that's going to be that early vote, and then we're gonna kind of go from there. Governor's race, flip back over 30%, and again, continues to be a solid advantage for Jackson.
Named after a Civil War veteran, I believe.
Jones can reverse this. Jones can reverse this thing on that election day vote.
I can give you the cumulative, election day vote early split. I gave you some of the counties that we have, completed vote in. Some of these counties we have partial vote in, and so we have cumulative numbers. If you want to
Now, okay, let's just set this up properly. You say cumulative. When you give me the early vote, it's going to be just the early vote from the counties that we're talking about.
No, it's going to be early vote from everywhere and election day vote from everywhere.
It's apples and oranges. Yeah, we need some apples to apples comparisons here to make this to make sense of this. But and one thing, we had gone through those numbers for 3 counties in the governor's race. Did you have them for the Senate race too?
Sure. Yeah, we have.
Why don't we do that? Because I think that one's a little more clear cut right now, and this might make it clear. Take me through the Collins margin. Just we'll do early, same day. What you're finding in completed counties?
Yeah, the biggest ones we have right now, Brantley, in the pre-election day vote, it was Collins 71, Dooley 29.
42 points for Collins in the
election day vote, 75, 25
to 50. Okay.
Bleckley County, the pre-election 60, 40, Collins over Dooley. And then election day 69, 31, Collins over Dooley.
38, yeah, we had shown that one already.
And then Ben Hill would be another one here. Pre-election day, Collins 58, 42. And then election day vote, Collins 66, 34.
Okay, so 3 small counties.
I mean,
8, 18, and 16 is the net shift towards Collins in those 3 that are that we have election day.
I can probably guess that the most
I think Ben Hill's completed, so this is useful because
that the highest population density city in the United States, and I'm guessing that it's probably going to end up being San Francisco as the most densely populated. Is it Newark?
Ben Hill County in the preliminary was 60.
It has to be Newark then. Jersey City?
He got with the election day vote. He lands at 62. Remember, we said Collins in any given county has a pad of about 7 points off of that preliminary number, right? Meaning he probably just wants to be 53 or above in a place like this, and he lands at 62.
Is it Atlantic City?
We start to get completed counties, and those 2 pieces come together, right? That's what we're looking at. There's one small
Gutenberg.
There's Collins doing better
Guttenberg.
in the 2-way preliminary split. With
Another place that I've never heard of.
Again, these numbers
In New Jersey.
Everything that we're seeing right now, we're saying is prospectively very encouraging for Collins in terms of winning this thing. And now, in at least a completed county, you're seeing how those 2 things kind of come together. We're seeing the possibility that's being hinted at right here, which also means
wow.
Jackson 52, Jones 48 is where it lands in the governor's race. So how did those 2 pieces come together here in this county? The Jones share in the preliminary, was 55. We blended together the pre and the election day. It's 48. And what did we say Jones's pad was in any given county? Remember, it was 54-46 was the 2-way.
I was thinking it was going to be San Francisco.
So 51 or so would be the target for Jones in a county like this. Basically, you want to be on the north side of 50.
You San Francisco even in the 100
That's
or 20 at 24th.
And that's not a huge difference between 48 and 51. But if that becomes the story of coming short of that number that, you know, sort of his pad here, that becomes a problem for him. But, you know, I think that's what we're looking. We're looking at some real suspense here in this governor's race. Just based on the numbers, the sort of very limited the numbers that we've seen that Adam's been able to give us from the election day vote in some of these places. I think, as you told me,
Include census designated places, which I don't count as cities, but Friendship Village has the most.
Okay, we'll go back to Bleckley. Remind me if I don't. Sorry, Cobb. We've really hyped Cobb here. What are we looking at?
All right, we got
early vote in Cobb. Again,
okay, early vote.
Producing County, we think tonight in a Republican side in this runoff. Jackson 64, Jones 46. This is a biggie. The number for Jones, right, in Cobb County in the two-way vote in the preliminary was 51, and he's running at 36.
Wow.
And again, he doesn't have to get 51. I'd say he wants to be at 47 or above. He's at 36. He's got to do a ton better.
I know.
A lot of votes still to come in Cobb County, and that's going to be
That is wow.
a lot better than he did with that.
Where is Friendship Village located?
So again, this is not insane. We've shown you a couple completed counties here that are very small, hundreds of 1,500, 2,000 votes total. I mean, look at this. We got more than 20,000 just in the early vote right here in Cobb. This is the mother of all counties. As it goes
Maryland.
to Georgia. But again, any completed county we want to look at. That's why I'm going to zoom in on Bleckley for a minute.
Montgomery County. All right.
It's basically a tie between these candidates.
Okay, Bleckley shows Jackson up by 6 votes.
What was the Jones
But
number in the preliminary? The two-way Jones. Oh boy, the two-way Jones number was 59 here. Right?
but you see a
He has a little bit of a pad. He probably wants to be at 55 or above. He gets 50. These are two small counties, but we're with them because these are the completed counties, and there's the ones they're gonna.
Bleckley is done reporting votes, by the way, and it shows Jackson up by 6 votes over Burt Jones.
Below what would kind of be his baseline fitness number or above target. At 50, probably wants to be at 55 or above here. Remember, we showed you 48, probably at 51. So we've seen that in 2 counties right now that are completed. Adam, any more complete? I can look here too. I don't mean to.
Yeah, no, I think I have Banks and Greene counties.
Yeah.
I don't know. We may have done Greene before, but yeah, we can talk through those if you want to talk through them. Banks County, I have the early vote at 63-37 for Jackson.
Sorry, 63-37 Jackson. You have Jackson plus 26 in the early vote, right?
And then on the election day, I have it for Jones 53-47.
You have
I'm gonna actually zoom in on this.
point swing there.
That's right.
Wow. Okay, so there's one that. Sorry, I'm just trying to take stock of the clock here because it's also we have Alabama closing in 9 minutes.
Yeah, Alabama closes in 9 minutes.
The top of the hour as well.
Is it every much focus possible, which is interesting, but not Washington State? It's just Seattle. Wow.
So at the top, we're going over to.
That it could be a future video. Is every state's most densely populated city that I do? I'm not very likely, but I'm not ruling it out.
Okay, one thing I'll tell everybody just about Alabama when it closes, it is a pretty slow counting state. We'll spend more time kind of setting it up right there. I think the basic dynamics vary more. The Trump endorsed candidate
Yeah.
first in that preliminary, but Jared Hudson, there's a lot of signs in the polling that Hudson's got some real life there. It'll be a very interesting race.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty sluggish getting those numbers going there.
I'll have to check it out at some point.
Washington, D.C. tonight. We haven't forgotten about your mayor's race. Look, I'm not going to leave this for more than a second, but we got it teed up here. The polls are closing in less than 10 minutes.
Oh, I forgot DC.
But we're going to be showing you results from there tonight. We're back over here to Georgia, and at 9 o'clock also. At 8 o'clock. Excuse me. At 8 o'clock also we got Oklahoma. That's right. Coming right. Okay. Oklahoma. We got an interesting gubernatorial primary. There's a Trump endorsement there. It's a multi-candidate race. We're doing some. We're going to be. Don't worry, Sooners and Cowboys, and Tulsa Golden Hurricane. I don't want to miss any schools right there. Oral Roberts. We got you all covered. We're going to do some Oklahoma as well. But in the time that we have right here, you mentioned Banks. I think Adam is completed. So let's take a look. Again, small, about 2,000 votes, but completed, so we can start to answer some questions here. Gubernatorial primary. I think you told us that Jones got some pretty big improvement right here. His number in the preliminary. This was basically
It's a sec.
tie between Jones and Jackson in the preliminary.
And the Oklahoma gubernatorial election, I cannot remember if there's anything. If we know the Democratic candidate yet. No, we don't.
So again, this is the third time we got a completed county, all small, where Jones is falling a little bit short of that number. Let's take a look at Banks here, though, in the Senate race. Let me call that one up. Okay, so now we got here as well. Collins wins by 3 points over Dooley, but the question is, what was Collins' number here in the preliminary? The Collins number in the preliminary was 54. Delancey does not get his number, but what did we say?
These are the big ones for the.
7 points of Pat, meaning
He
probably wants to be at 47 or above here, and he lands at 51. So again, by itself, overperforming, your target by 4 points is not be all and end all, and the county decides. But is this also part of the pattern we're seeing in the Senate race? So again, 40% of the vote here in the Senate race. Is a 10,000 vote advantage Collins over Dooley? See, not all. See, a lot of these counties
could be
the early vote, and we are just waiting on getting that election day vote to fill in these two pieces of the puzzle. Again, go over to the governor's race, same thing. About 40% of the vote, same question. And I keep asking you, but is there any more completed or?
Yeah, let me take a look here. I think Pierce County would be another one that we haven't done.
Okay.
Oh, I see a bunch of completed here, actually. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm just looking for small, right? What do we got? Towns County. That's going to take us way up. No, okay, so let's take a look at Towns County. I think this might be the biggest completed one. We haven't shown you actually. Far
Towns County shows gubernatorial does show Jackson winning, but it's Jackson by 4. But Jones was leading in the preliminary with 53. Wow.
So he probably wants to be 49 or above. He lands at 48. Small, but we've now seen 4, where this has been the story for Jones.
I think Jones is going to come up just short.
Number he wants to have. Senate side, same county. Let's take a look here. Towns County, far north Georgia. Collins going to win this thing by 17 points over Dooley. Collins' number here in the preliminary was 55. Well, I don't even need to go through the permutations on this. He's north of that number. He's got pad. He's got more pad from that preliminary two-way number than Jones has in the governor's race, and he goes north of it in Towns. So, again, we are seeing...
We're also getting stuff from Pierce County. I don't know if they're going to report on it. But again, it shows just about the exact same thing, where it's looking like Jones is coming up just short, and it's still really close for Senate.
DC comes up at the top of the hour. Oklahoma comes up at the top of the hour. Alabama comes up at the top of the hour. Stars fell on Alabama. Stars fall on Alabama. How's it go?
Reference is lost on me.
Oh, that's the class. It's on their license plates. Last night we lived a little.
Haven't traveled enough in Alabama.
I think it was in Forrest Gump. I think that's what kind of popularized. It's an older.
Is it competition though? Okay.
It's in Forrest Gump. Hang on, let me just check this. Bear with me.
All right, we're just under 3 minutes from poll closing. 2.5.
2 minutes to the hit. Oh, okay. No, that's right. If you could just give me the. Yeah. Okay. So we got this. Actually, this may be the biggest. We got 2 minutes. Okay. This may be the biggest
Yeah. Okay. Greene County just reported all theirs.
This is the biggest completed county. Okay, we're near the Athens area. Collins.
This is Greene County.
With a little bit of a grain of salt. Collins' number here in the preliminary, however, was 60. Okay, he's going to land just south of 56. Again, he's got some. He probably wants 53 or above. He's going to land at 56 in his congressional district. Okay, go to the Republican gubernatorial race, same county, Greene County here. Jackson.
Greene County, yeah, Jackson up by 74 votes. Ed.
It was 54. We think he's got 4 points of pad. He wants to win it. Basically, just misses. These are not. This is like 5 now where we've seen this exact.
It's looking, yeah, like Jones is going to come up just short in the gubernatorial and Rick Jackson.
And if this is not being repeated in the bigger counties, it could be okay. But he's missing so far. Just missing his target, his sort of bottom line target.
We're 1 minute away from polls closing in Oklahoma, Alabama, and the District of Columbia.
1 minute, and I'm just looking to see if I can give you.
We're getting closer in Oconee
I
County.
just saw the same thing. Can we call that up on the screen here?
Okay, Oconee, yeah.
This is pretty good. Let's see if we just
Oconee, there's just a couple more precincts to report.
Keep in mind, Senate races.
What's Jones's number?
What was his number here in the preliminary? It was 55. Okay, with the pad, probably needs 51. He's running at 40.5.
Yep.
There are some outstanding.
Just short.
Is it going to come up to 51? It looks like another one where he's likely to just miss. Okay.
Yeah, there's no way Jones comes up to 51 unless he gets like 95% of the last 2 precincts, which I just don't see happening.
What was the Collins number here in the preliminary? 51, right? I think he's got 7 points of pad. He wants 44. Boy, it's just, that's uncanny, isn't it? In both races, we're seeing the same Collins just over that number. Hasn't gone under it yet. And
all right, polls are closed.
Yeah, 5 or 6 completed
Okay, generally, no.
Okay, now it's women. I can see that this is going to be Gotti Schwartz on.
No.
Stay tuned. He'll come. We'll check in on
That just wouldn't work.
Show you folks though. The polls now closed in Alabama. Remember, Trump endorsed Gary Moore, sort of conservative insurgent, former Navy SEAL Jared Hudson. I'll just remind you, this is what it looked like in the preliminary. This was a pretty healthy margin, Moore over Hudson.
Yeah, that would not work.
He's from North Alabama, right? The district for Moore is down here, his congressional district. As you can see, Hudson cleaned up, or did the reason Hudson made the runoff, big numbers over Marshall around Birmingham. In this area right here, there's a lot of population in these 2 counties.
There's just such a difference between all of them.
Huntsville. And again, that was sort of Marshall's area. See, Moore won it.
And it'd just be confusing.
A lot of votes up for grabs up there. Okay, folks, they're coming in here in a second. And more with NBC News' chief data analyst, Steve Kornacki, at the big board. Steve, great to see you. You've been watching this before the show. The polls closed about an hour ago in Georgia. How's it looking right now? Yeah, we got some interesting races here. 2 close races in our hands here. First, in that Republican runoff for the United States Senate, the winner getting Democrat Jon Ossoff in November. Congressman Mike Collins is leading the count right now over former Tennessee football coach Derek Dooley, also the son of a former University of Georgia football coach. That might be more relevant right here. But a 14,000 vote advantage, Collins over Dooley. The numbers I would say that we've been looking at, that Dooley has been competitive, but what's happening right now is the election day vote, the vote that was cast in person at the polls today, is starting to get added to the mix. And what we found in these Republican primaries this year has been that vote has tended to be the more pro-MAGA vote.
Just former Tennessee college football coach.
So far, what we've been seeing is that election day vote has been added in. It's been probably a little bit better for Collins than it is for Dooley. Still a very competitive race, though. And on the governor's side here, just take a look at this, Gotti. Rick Jackson, sort of conservative insurgent candidate, self-funding, has poured a ton into this.
But it's been showing Collins is winning, but in the governor's race, it showed Jackson is winning. Oh, I support uncapping the House.
What we're seeing here is that election day vote, where we've seen it, has been pretty friendly to Joe.
Not that much.
Running with the Trump endorsement.
I'm thinking maybe 700.
Big numbers to turn this around. The election day vote added in. There are some early indications, Gotti. he couldn't be able to do that. If he does, this is a real barn burner on the gubernatorial side.
Outside of Georgia, we've got races in Alabama, in Oklahoma, California, also in D.C. Anything else that you're watching right now?
Yeah, polls just closed west of the border here. Wow, this is the gubernatorial. This is the I'm sorry, this was not supposed to happen. I was supposed to get the Senate race up. There it is. I apologize for that glitch. That's entirely my fault. This is the Senate runoff, the Republican Senate runoff in Alabama. Again, this is a test of the Trump endorsement. Congressman Barry Moore against Jared Hudson, a former Navy SEAL, sort of running as a conservative activist insurgent. It's a polling that this is a very close runoff. Moore had gotten more votes
Right.
pretty well in the preliminary here. Hudson, though, had kind of closed strong. This is going to be a very interesting test. Alabama is a pretty slow state at counting up its votes. I think a real interesting test here of the power of the Trump endorsement. The other thing that just happened, as you mentioned, in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., first time in 12 years, they are going to have a new mayor, the incumbent not seeking re-election. This is the Democratic part, but the city is basically all Democratic, so this is more than likely going to settle who the next mayor is. The two frontrunners, Janice Lewis George, she calls herself a Democratic socialist, against a former city councilman, Ken McKee, supported by a lot of the folks around the outgoing mayor, Muriel Bowser. One thing to keep in mind as these numbers come tonight,
Right.
the first time in D.C. using ranked choice voting. If nobody gets 50%, they go through this long process here. The bottom line is they wouldn't give you the winner until probably a couple of weeks from now, at least 10 days from now, if it does go to that ranked choice calculation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just another system to keep track of all the different systems we use for the primaries in the
Mind you,
wild. Here in
a Bowser endorsement could hurt because Bowser's approval rating is right now only about 45. I saw.
Yeah, I mean, folks, try to follow me if you can on this one, because, boy, it doesn't get more confusing than this. But so California, a couple things happen here. This is a special election to fill the seat of Eric Swalwell. Remember, Eric Swalwell resigned in scandal. He had been running for governor, so his seat came open here.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
Regularly, but then he resigned his seat altogether, and it triggered a special election. So this is the special election tonight. It's California. Democrats and Republicans all run on the same ballot, and then the top. If somebody gets 50%, they win on the spot. Otherwise, the top two will advance to a runoff. The winner ultimately of this will only serve probably the remaining, probably end up being a couple of months of that unexpired Swalwell term. But in the interim, the lines have changed a bit. But in the sort of new version of Swalwell's district, they already had the preliminary, and the leading candidate was Aisha Wahab there. The leading candidate, she still has to run in the general election. But the bottom line is, you'd expect her to do well tonight based on how she did in a similar district in California's June primary.
What we're looking for is how much the Bowser endorsement will help or hurt the candidates. Again, not a popular mayor.
Original district lines for this vote, even though all other elections going forward are using the lines today, right? It boggles the mind that this is. This is a complex system that is used here in California. It is in flux right now. I know in Georgia, just speaking of redistricting in particular, Georgia, they're going to do a special session tomorrow where they're drawing up lines potentially for 2028, and that's all under review by the court system. Again, how do you keep track of this, Steve?
Yeah, no, look, that's it in California.
And the winner is going to go up for the DC mayor against the DC Statehood Green Party.
So we set that up, and as that's happening, sort of on this parallel track, Swalwell resigned from Congress altogether. So his seat is currently vacant in Congress. So this is an election to fill that seat until the end of this Congress, when whoever gets elected this November will take it permanently. So yeah, this is the lines were all redrawn for redistricting. So right, this is the sort of original version of the 14th district. And again, the winner here gets this job for a couple months, but this is a lot of overlap between who's running in the new version of it too.
Yeah, wild stuff. Steve Kornacki, really appreciate you breaking all that down for us. Thank you so very much. We'll be checking back with you probably as the night continues.
You got it. Okay, folks, let me put Georgia right back up here. Yep. Somebody just comment in. Oh, okay. Sorry, Adam is giving me guidance from
So, going back to this race, we are getting some election day precincts out of Gwinnett. That's our first.
Yeah.
We have about 8 precincts.
Are we in the gubernatorial race we're talking?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
We have about 8 precincts, but it's about 1,000 votes. And Jones is carrying those 52.5 to 47.5.
So it's 5.
Yeah.
Right. And he's losing this by 27.
Yeah.
So it's a swing of 32 in 8 precincts. So highly, but again, just to give you a sense, because Gwinnett is one of the giant ones. We've shown you small counties, mainly because that's where we've gotten completed vote here. But the Jones two-way share in Gwinnett is 51%. Right. Again, he wants to land at 47. He's nowhere near 47 right now. So if the final result is this, this number by 5 points and cut Jackson's by 5 points, right? Anything like this, that is disastrous for Jones. Because I'm saying if you're missing targets by a few points in small counties, you can make up for it. You can't miss it by big margins in places like Gwinnett County, Cobb County, the big population centers. So this number will be disastrous for that's for the suspense here. As I said, these numbers, when the polls closed here, these are incredible numbers for Jack. I was a bit taken aback by them. To be honest with you, the scale of Jack.
I will be back in like 5 minutes. Be back in 5 minutes.
The Senate race. Do we have more? month, and Collins
Okay,
was
I am
clearly
back.
number one in that race. He'd gotten over 40% of the vote. He was double digit and Dooley in that preliminary. This was a pretty hill for Dooley. All he was going to have of the votes that were sort of for grabs in this thing. Donald Trump involved and endorsed my funds. We know that.
Hi. Okay. I had to go back and get a snack.
We need a net gain of 4 Senate seats this November. That's a very hard thing we're going to be doing. Look at what the map is going to be this November. One thing they absolutely can't afford if they're going to have any shot at doing that is losing a seat they already have. And that's the story here in Georgia. John Ossoff, the Democratic incumbent, now we know his opponent is going to be Mike Collins. This is one of Collins can make this a true.
And Ossoff is leading Collins in pretty much every poll.
A state like Georgia in a climate like this, the math for them would be too daunting, I think, elsewhere. Yeah, it's looking like come November, either way. Steve Kornacki, really appreciate you. Thank you so much. That's it. Okay. All right, so again, we're updating folks in the Senate race. We're going to transition away from that now. Here, again, looking at the governor's race, and you can see, I mean, I think we're locked in on the granular readouts in these counties, but we're now at 50% of the vote statewide. Again, just about all the early voters in. We see a scattering here of small counties. We're going to add in some more early votes. But it's just about all in right now. And remember where the count started. This overall statewide count was running at about 60-40 for Jackson. And it's come down. Jackson's come down to 56. Jones has come up to 44. And it's clearly Jones is doing substantially better with the election day vote than he did with the early vote. He got blown out. What we're trying to figure out right now is it at all possible that election day vote is doing substantially better enough that he could actually compensate for what certainly looked like disastrous numbers for him with that early vote. That's what we're trying to figure out right now. And let me ask Adam, during that update, you were able to hear anything from our friends or see any more completed or see any more substantial major county election day vote updates?
Yeah, Walker is another county that we're now completing. So in the early vote there, it was Jones winning 53-47.
Mm-hmm. Jones won this by 6 early.
And in the election day vote, it's 57-43.
Oh, yeah, that's it. 14. So here, that's just interesting on its face because that's only 8. It's a net shift of only 8 points right there. Jones over Jackson. We were looking at some other places. He needs the 15-20 variety, 25 variety we see in some other places. Walker County, this is outside Chattanooga here, 14th congressional district. Georgia, there are a fair number of Republican votes up here. So that's one. Yeah, Jones is doing better there, but I think he wants to do better than that. Which we've seen elsewhere. So again, that's just one county. We're looking at. What I have here, folks, so you know what I'm looking at. I'm a giant, constantly updating spreadsheet, and I'm just looking for some substantial places I can show you that we got, all the election info. I'll show you. So you have.
Those were the big, substantial ones I saw.
Okay, wait, let me.
we're starting to get some election day vote in Cherokee. We have about 2,000 votes, which is about 10% of our expected.
Okay, one second here. I mean, okay, yeah. Now, this is one of the bigger fully recorded. So let's use Morgan as a check. 50-50 here, Jackson Jones, right? So the Jones number here in the preliminary was 59, and we're completed. And he's running at basically 50. So he's not.
Yeah, Burt Jones is coming up short.
Jones is running just under that number. Add that to the list. Cherokee County,
Now in Oklahoma,
say about 2,000 election votes here. Yeah.
most of your votes going to come out of Oklahoma County and Tulsa County. Got to go for now. Bye.
And the same day is breaking for Jackson 54-46.
Yeah. So it's a 22-point shift. It's a 22-point shift away from Jackson. He's still winning that election day vote. He's not winning it by the same margin. So what the target here, or I should say what happened in the primary was Jones's number here was 49, right? And he's running at 36 right now. And if he's still trailing the election day vote by 8, right? That means he's running at 46 with the election day vote. And he wants to be at, I'd say 45 or above here. So, and this is not one.
Excuse me.
You're showing these small counties, and you can miss by a few points, but and make up for somewhere else. These are the kinds of counties that you don't want to miss. And I mean, again, Cherokee is massive. One of the biggest vote producing counties in this far tonight. And so while that is a 22-point shift in Jones's direction, he's getting 46%. We have more than half the votes coming right now. And he's winning the election day vote. He's getting about 46% of it. If he continues to get 46% of it, this number's going to come up. But this number's not going to come up to, I think, the bare minimum of what he needs to. He needs to be getting more than 46% of the election day vote in Cherokee County. He wants his number to be above 45% when all the votes are counted in Cherokee County. If he gets 46% the rest of the way, that's a lot of votes, and this number will come up in the 40s, but it will fall short of that 45%. And again, this is the kind of county where if you're a few points short, it matters. So that's and again, it's 2,000 votes. That sort of clip that he's getting to that 46% can change. I think it has to change. I think it needs to change for Jones right there. We have other big ones that are seeing this. Taking a look. I can show some more small ones here. Looking for something for size.
Yeah, the counties that are reported fully are the smaller ones. Some of the bigger ones, we are getting some precincts that is not completed.
All right, guys, I'll be back.
scattered.
We now have some more things we can talk about.
So not being able to say too much about just going through them all and seeing the same thing Crenshaw. Again, you're in more country than so yeah, Floyd County has a near complete. Okay, that's good. We'll come back to this. We got Floyd almost complete. Yeah, okay, so we can.
Okay, Floyd County, Georgia's
Remember, city of this is where Rome, Georgia is.
almost
Jones here,
fully
share,
in.
What?
No. But we're seeing everything with Burt Jones appearing to pull up short.
More election day vote, now in single digits. What was 20, came down to 10, now 6 at 9. Jones is closing here. It's going to close more. Certainly seems like, but I've yet to see one of these counties where you're seeing a completed county or the trend that's being established with the election day vote that actually shows it going over.
Mind you, in our Discord server, we are still.
It actually flipped the statewide advantage to himself.
Steve, another from our analytics team here, they say with over 350 completely reported precincts, the data is showing that the race in the Republican governor runoff, when we're looking at, will tighten as more precincts report their election day vote.
Well, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just looking for false that was my reaction.
They're expecting it to tighten, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything at this point. This is a weird election year.
Okay, so yes, yes, we're all on the same page. We expect this to tighten, but again, what we're trying to discern here from the numbers is can it tighten enough not for Jones to get to 47%, 48%, for Jones to get to 50.1%. Again, get to see that kind of number in these returns. But I am looking, and Adam is looking to see what we can find. And since I've had trouble with this, I'm getting into the phones. So bear with me. Okay, we got one more to show you. Let's take a look up at Union County.
Okay, Union County, Georgia's what we're analyzing evidently now.
Elaborate intro. The trends. Jones got 53 in the preliminary. Again, we say.
Oh, Oklahoma D Senate, I forgot. Thomas, Priest, Green, all coming real close.
Low end of what he needs, not just like the bare minimum number, call it. He keeps getting close to these completed counties. He keeps coming in under it. So you just keep seeing that trend here. 42,000, basically the margin right at 41,000 change there.
What?
Where else?
What?
Can I show you here? Let's see what else we got.
Be back after dinner.
So we can go down. Now we are in Buddy Carter's congressional district register here, the first congressional district here. Okay. Jones completed here. Jones had 55. What was his number in the preliminary? 63, which is two-way share in the preliminary. Again, he had 4.5. Probably wants 59, gets 55. You're seeing this, right? We're all seeing the same thing here. Where else? Significant one. I'll show you. What? So, I'm proud of folks as I didn't get my spreadsheet here. So, getting on my phone. Okay, that's Let's take a look at Ware County. You know, complete deep South Georgia. Jones is in the preliminary. Okay. The first time we've seen small county here in South Georgia, but 68%. That was Jones's number. Two-way share in the preliminary. You can kind of follow 64 or above.
All right, I'm gonna need to get dinner in a few minutes, actually.
That's the good news for Jones. The bad news, the small one. That's 2,500 votes total coming out of Ware County, but that is him going over that number. You know what might be easier? Instead of checking my spreadsheet every time, bear with me. We can just search the map for 95% here.
Yeah.
Check my my spreadsheet. Okay, let's take a look. This is tiny, but the share here in the preliminary for Jones was
Okay, Eccles County.
Jones got 71%.
Yeah.
Was Jones's preliminary.
This is one where Jones is actually doing good with the buffer.
Is there a South Georgia thing going on here? We're waiting on more from Lowndes County. Okay, Brooks County here. If we showed this one earlier, I'm trying to remember now. But Jones is going to win this thing with 66%. What was his share in the preliminary? 72. Probably wanted 68 against 66. Okay, let's keep going here. Okay, yeah, okay. The Colquitt County, his number was 71. It's two-way shift. Preliminary was 71. Probably more 67. Lands at 65.
Mhm.
That old pattern kind of continues. Just continuing.
Colquitt,
Georgia,
Thomas,
South Georgia. Go to the other side where the
Grady.
Grady County here completed. Jones's preliminary number, two-way share was 63%. Probably wants 59. Lands at 56. So we're seeing it kind of everywhere here. 59. Where else? It showed you quite good. I'm just going through these like this, folks, sort of haphazardly. Bear with me. Miller, two-way share in the preliminary for Joe. Two-way share for Joe.
Yeah.
The preliminary was 68.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, did I get that right? Yeah, 68 versus 2 inches. Yeah. Okay.
Well, he made improvement in Miller County.
But he goes over it. We said he wanted 64. He goes 9 points up. Well, he needs to see that in a lot of places. Where else can he find it? Let's continue on forward here. Randall, he's very, very small here.
Yeah.
43. What am I doing wrong here? You got to click the pencil on it. 43, 42. Again, we're going through. These are very rural counties here.
Yeah.
A lot of these counties too. Macon County. This is not where the city of Macon is.
Mm-hmm.
What was the number? 54. Jones's number.
I always forget that Macon, Georgia, is not in Macon County.
Just missing it. It's 13 votes. Okay. Let's go to the other side of the state. It shows you rating more from Richmond County. This is a big one. Effingham County, Lyon County. We're looking for 95 votes. 95 means we think all the votes are in.
Mhm.
We think all the votes are in. I'm sorry. But it broke me, Adam. It broke me. How do I get back to them?
Easier shortcuts.
Georgia Senate Republican.
Hit 2026.
Georgia Governor.
Hit 2026.
Thank you. I'm sorry. My brain is messing up. I'm toggling between. I have to have the pin deselected to change counties, and then I keep wanting to write. That's what's happening. My brain is screwing up. Okay. Jones here, 51% was his share of the two-way vote.
So Jones is doing okay in Scrabble.
He's getting here.
Or Scrabble.
He's getting 47. So he's right at kind of the number he won here. So that's we've seen him go over it in one. We've seen him just come. We've seen him go over his preliminary number in one tiny county, and we've seen him get his bare minimum number in two tiny counties, and he's missed it everywhere else. Shout at him if the big counties are coming in. I'm doing this just because we're.
Yeah. Well, and I do have an update on a number you've been looking for.
Yeah.
So I went through and compiled. These are counties that are reporting any kind of election day vote at all. There's 135 counties that are reporting any kind of election day vote at all.
Okay.
And in the election day vote, Jones is winning them by 9 points.
Okay.
54-46.
Uh-huh.
And in those
Mhm.
There's some rounding stuff, but yes, I called it 9. Okay, 54.3 to 45.7. In the pre-election day vote, Jackson was winning those by 17.
7.
Yeah.
So it's
Winning pre by 17.
135.
Oh, okay. So you have tallied all of the election day vote that's coming so far.
Yes.
Hmm.
Okay.
And giving you the corresponding county number for those counties.
Yeah, wait, I'm sorry. You're gonna have to say this again. If Jones is leading the election day vote by 9
Yes.
across counties where Jackson won the early by 17.
These are all the counties that have election day vote reporting.
Right.
And so in those counties, 135 of them, he's winning the election day vote. And in the
Wow.
corresponding early vote for those counties is that number.
Jackson, so 26-point shift.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. And again, some of these are partial election day votes, but that's what I was
That is ridiculous between
Okay. I got to think
two.
about that because that's not quite matching up with these county by county things we're seeing. Because a 26-point shift would be if he was losing the early.
It may be thrown off by some of these partial counties, but that's
Okay, yeah. Okay, let's keep it.
Oh, Oklahoma Democratic candidate for governor. We have a projection. And that is that for the Oklahoma Democratic primary for governor is that Cindy Munson is the projected winner.
So we want to see if big counties are really a tough story. There's room for certain.
Now, to the Democratic primary for the Senate, or for the Democratic primary for the Senate, there's nothing. No thing in Oklahoma 1st Congressional District, Lamar and Tedford, significant advantage over Butterfield.
All the votes are basically it, right? So Wilkes County, okay, we think all the votes are. It's small, but just continue here.
Mhm.
The two-way share for Jones in the preliminary was 63. Again, he led Jackson in the preliminary statewide. He led him 54 to 46. That was the two-way share between these candidates in the preliminary. So it means that he can probably afford to lose about 4 points in any given county. Jones can't off that number. So he could probably afford to get about 59% in Wilkes County, and that's what he lands with. He lands with just a fraction over 59. But again, that's not what we've been seeing him fall short in most places where we've gotten completed vote. I think we did Greene County earlier. Sure we did. Let's skip over that. We got Jasper County here. So again, taking a look here in the preliminary, Jones's share here. This is what the pen. Jones got 68% of the two-way vote in the preliminary. That 4-point push, and he probably wants 64, and he lands just under.
Yeah.
There. So he's getting awfully close. But that extra, that extra piece of it is elusive. Okay, Buskin has a pretty big size here. And what did he get in the preliminary? The two-way share for Jones in the preliminary here was 80. So he probably wants 76, and he gets 76. And it's a 3,500 votes right there.
Catoosa now complete.
Okay, we got all of Catoosa in, so let's go up to Northwest Georgia. This is a big one. This is pretty big. Republican side. Jones 55%. What was his two-way share in the preliminary? It was 64%. So, if you're Jones, you probably wanted 60% of the vote in Catoosa. You've landed at 55. So, okay. 2/3 of the vote. Look at this. It's come down now. That's 7.5. Remember, 63%. This thing was 8 points between it. 66%. It's come down to 7.5%. Jones is closing. The election day vote, I didn't say it's favoring him, but what we're looking for, and we really still haven't seen, are signs that Jones isn't just going to get real close in this thing. Get this thing up to like 48%. So he's going to go over 50.
What?
If you're Jones, you want to find some
Guys, I'll be back.
When you are overperforming, just going to continue looking for 95% counties here. Here's one thing, Kevin, because again, you just want to see where is there anywhere he's getting this. What was Jones's two-way share in Lumpkin County in the preliminary? It was 48%. Apply the 4-point pad. He probably wants 44 to bare minimum. Remains just south of it. Again, that's suggesting coming awfully close to 50%. He can afford to miss. He can afford to miss like this in a lot of small counties if he's making up for it. Now, we just haven't seen the counties where he's making up for it yet. We just keep seeing him miss by small amounts.
What?
So I'm just looking for 95. Folks at home, if you shout loud enough and I miss it, maybe I'll hear you. Chattooga County, okay, take a look here. Jones's two-way share in the preliminary is at 95, right? 60. Probably wants at a bare minimum of 56. What does he get? 53. Story continues. We just keep getting the same thing. Harolson, did we show you this before? But 50%. That was Jones's two-way share. Probably wants 46. Jeez, he gets 45.4. This is Jones. This is agonizing to be going through these numbers. You're coming so close to getting there, but I'm just not seeing him go over anywhere. 95. And again, Adam, you'll shout if you got any significant same-day numbers from big counties.
Cap was the one that we got some more election day voting.
Oh, okay.
About half of the election day vote.
Great. We'll do Pike and we'll go right there. So in Pike, we're at 95%, and the Jones share in the preliminary, I can do it wrong, I'm learning to do this. The Jones share in the preliminary was 60, 4-point band, probably wants 56, boom, 54. It's uncanny, right?
What?
Okay, DeKalb County. So let's take a look here. This would be enormous on the Democratic side. It's huge enough population. It's overwhelming Democratic County. Huge enough population-wise. There's a fair number of Republican votes here in the primary. So, Adam, with the caveat that we got a lot of election days still coming in, what's it trending at? So, Adam, give us the early and then what the same date is.
The early was for Jackson, 66-34.
So 32.
And the election was trending for Jackson at 52-40.
So 4 points elected. A 28-point shift between having early vote is good win and having election day voters going away from Jackson towards Jones. Now, let me just get the sort of the target here. So, what was Jones's share in the preliminary? Jones's share in the preliminary here was 50. Right, it was basically a tie between Jones and Jackson in the two-way vote. Jones would probably want 46. That'd be a bare minimum number. And he's running at 41, but he's doing a lot better with the election day vote, and there's a lot more to come. He's getting 48% of the election day vote. So keeps getting 48% with all that vote left. This number is going to go up, but he needs that number to get up to 46. So, Adam, let me ask you, what is the expected vote in DeKalb County?
The expected total vote is 18,500, so about 6,000 remaining.
6,000 remaining.
Yeah.
6,000 remaining votes. So the back of the envelope calculation here, right? If he continues to get Jones does, sorry about this, folks, 48% of 6,000, he'll get an additional 28, 80, and then 3120 will go to Jackson. So 28, 80, and 79, 80, 38 would be the total number for Jones, right? And then 31, 20, 10, 5, 10, 6, 13 would be the number for Jackson. So that would be 18,051 total votes, 80, 38 into 18,551, 651, 613 plus 30, 651 votes. It would be, if he continues to get 48% with what's left, Jones would finish with 43%. 43% when we think at a bare minimum, he probably wants 46. And again, this is no longer are we in a small rural county where if you miss by a point or two, this is big. This is big to be missing by 3 points on top of seeming to be missing everywhere else, almost everywhere else we're looking. Again, I think if you're Jones, you need to do better than 48 with what's left. You know, and that needs to happen in a lot of other places. Zoom out, 66% here, right? It is 7.6 points. Jones continuing to close right here. Let me just take a look inside here. Fulton County, you know, right, again, we got a ton of vote left in Fulton County. We got, you see, Cobb County, Adam said we started to get the election there. These are the big sort of single pieces of real estate here. Cobb County.
I think we're about complete in Hall.
Okay, we got, we see Cobb County. We got Fulton, excuse me. And we got, now Adams, we're about done in Hall. So let's take a look here. Again, this is a big one.
We're, our expected is 94. Maybe we're not all in. I can double check on those numbers, but
We're very close to all.
yeah.
So let's take, with the caveat that this is still a little bit, the number for Jones in the preliminary, the two-way share for Jones in all county was 47%. And, you know, you probably want to be getting about 43, and he's running about 40. You know, so again, 7.4% though. He's closed this thing, you know, pretty dramatically here. There's still an awful lot of vote to come.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see
Kevin Hearn did win the Senate,
over
but
that kind of bare minimum number.
Republican is not really one I've been keeping track of, though.
I want to get a stab here. Hang on a second. With me. 9 o'clock. Are we doing a see the clock turn? Are we doing a thing?
Not at the moment, no. Just plugging away.
Okay. So let me just go next door to Alabama because I don't, you know, we are doing result. Okay, we've got a fair. Okay, now we got a fair number of votes. So put a pin in Georgia for a minute. Adam will keep monitoring and shout if we got anything. What? It's not a ton here. I think this is going to be. We said at the start of the night. I think Madison is going to be very important. This is where the city of Huntsville is. Marshall's a pretty big sized place here. We're only 5%. You know, Limestone, this is still part of that Huntsville, immediate Huntsville metro area. More leading. Yeah, I think this is substantial to have 60% of the vote. I think, again, the way I was kind of viewing the map here in Alabama tonight was, you know, it's more country down here. His congressional district. This is out of his congressional district. His congressional district is down here. Okay, we had seen in the preliminary that Hudson put up his big numbers in here, Birmingham metro area. And the North was where a third candidate was from, and it was sort of the most up for grabs voters were going to be here. And this is sort of the heart of that area. And so, you know, Limestone County here, we got 60% of the vote, and Moore is leading there by 12 points. Now, we don't have in Alabama the same kind of like huge, they don't really have early voting the way they do in Georgia. This really is, we don't have these huge swings in vote type here.
Mm-hmm.
So 60% there, I think maybe more meaningful than 60% when you're looking at some of these counties in Georgia. So I'm just kind of looking around here, Morgan County, again, just sort of outside Huntsville here. These are encouraging numbers if you're Moore. Now, if you're Hudson, holy cow, this is the kind of thing,
Yeah.
you know, we say those are encouraging numbers if you're Moore, but if you're Hudson, if you can win landslide margins in places like Jefferson County.
Jefferson at 72-28 for Hudson. Wow.
That's a scat, but that's interesting. You know, St. Clair County, these are places, you know, again, where Hudson had done very well in the preliminary. But let me put it this way. We're talking about these two-way shares we're doing in Georgia. I hope it makes sense because I thought it was the best way to kind of to monitor these things. We did the same thing here in this Alabama race. Let me just show it to you quickly here. In the preliminary, right, statewide, okay, Moore got 39% of the vote, Hudson 25.6% of the vote. What that worked out to was if you just took his votes and his votes, right, and you said those are the only votes cast. What percentage of all these votes did Moore get? What was the difference between Moore and Hudson? So in the two-way head-to-head, it was 60-40 for Moore over Hudson. That was the two-way number, right? Meaning that this is that version of what we just did in Georgia, that in any given county, Moore probably has a pad of about 10 points. That might be the way to kind of look at these numbers, right? So from that two-way share. So what was, let me go back to the primary now. So if you apply that 10-point rule, right, like up here in Limestone County, one of the biggest one where we got the most share of the vote. Moore's two-way share here was 60, meaning he probably wants to win it. Plus 50, I'd say, is what he wants out of Limestone County. And there he is with 60% of the vote in, running at 56%. That's not an insubstantial number of votes. If that's a word. It's insubstantial word. We got 11% in Mobile County. The number here, this is interesting. The number here, the two-way share for Moore in the preliminary over Hudson was 73. He probably wants 63. He's over it, but he's not that much over it. That's an encouraging number if you're Hudson, is somewhat encouraging number at least. Again, Birmingham, I'll do the number here. Fine, the number, it's only 2%, so take it with a grain of salt here. But the two-way share for Moore against Hudson was 36, meaning he probably wants 26. He's at 28, but it's just a small share here. This is a big one. Shelby County, it's the big suburban Birmingham county here. Huge source of Republican votes. That'll be very significant here from Hudson's going to have to win that big. But again, that's about 12% right there. Just if you're more, you're probably a little more encouraged in these numbers than Hudson, but they're very scattered. We got more to. I keep saying it's like a pun. More to come. Let's go back here to the Georgia gubernatorial race, which is now it's 71%.
Yeah, and it's looking like Rick Jackson's going to win.
Keeps shrinking. It's down to 7. Did we get anything notable there, Adam? While I was going through that.
Muskogee's complete and Richmond is near complete.
Okay. Let's do Muskogee. Columbus, Georgia is here. Just go to the other side would be at the Phoenix City, Alabama. You got Jones at 47% of the vote here. So Jones's two-way share here in the preliminary was 48. He'd probably want 44. He exceeds it. Okay. That's the biggest county we've seen where Jones is hitting his number. Jones is exceeding his bare minimum number in Muskogee County. You said we got, you said we had another one. I forgot what you said we got.
Richmond.
We got Richmond.
Yeah.
We're close here, and this is big. So take a look. Jones at 46. Two-way share was 50.
I'll be back.
So 46 would be his bare.
Sorry, I have to keep cans going out.
And stubborn and consistent. What we're seeing.
It's looking like it could be over for Jones in Georgia, but it's not been called yet.
It matters in Cobb County to miss by 2 points. In the scheme of missing.
You can't miss by 2 points in Cobb.
I mean, again, you're in the heart of the population, the voting population in this primary. That's the case. He needs to step it up.
We're about half in the Oklahoma governor's race. If you want to,
Yeah, sure.
take a detour over there.
Let's, holy cow, we got a close one here, yeah.
Okay.
Again, so,
You're
significance here.
just
is,
over 1,000 between Drummond and
the Trump endorsement,
Maisie and Keating.
This is now a race, really, it's looking like it's going to be between Drummond and Maisie. I'm just looking around here. Well, now this is substantial. Okay. It is. We got 14% of the vote. Tulsa and these are going to be your two biggest vote-producing counties in the state. Oklahoma County, home of, you guessed it, Oklahoma City, and then Tulsa County. Tulsa County is the base. Tulsa is the base of Maisie. And you can see he's leading there. He's only leading by 3 points with 14% counted. Yeah, a little bit more counted, but still a ton to come in Tulsa County. And, Oklahoma City area, Drummond is leading. So we go down Cleveland County. These are the other sort of, kind of population centers here. Let's see here. Drummond leading Maisie. The question is who's coming in second here. Maisie. Yeah.
Canadian shows actually Merrick in first.
The significance here is, as we say, this is a Trump endorsed candidate. We have 53% of the vote, and we got a squeaker here. So this is another one where Trump won the Senate. His endorsement won the Senate primary, a Senate runoff in Georgia earlier. His candidate is in trouble in that Georgia gubernatorial primary. Everything we've been showing you right there, and his candidate in Oklahoma is trailing narrowly, but with more than half the vote counted there so far. That's an interesting set of results there. Let's take a look too before I forget. I keep meaning to check in. Look, the polls have been closed here for a while. We got nothing. We got nothing out of DC.
I don't know if you also want to look at the congressional race. And
we might as well show folks. No, that's California. That's much later. And we got this is the first district seat in Oklahoma, Republican primary here. Keeping an eye on as well. But I want to go back to that governor's race.
In Georgia.
6 points now.
we just got some new results in Paulding. I think we're about complete in Paulding.
Okay, so that's a pretty big piece of the puzzle. So let's take a look.
Yep.
Again, we showed you this earlier, but here's how it lands. 51% was Jones's. 51% was Jones's two-way share in the preliminary. 47% is probably his, lowest possible number. 44% is where he lands here. And again, there's a lot of votes here, right? Look at that. Almost 15,000 votes, a little bit less than 15,000 votes cast right there. So just that's, he's going to continue to tighten this, but we're not seeing anywhere of size where he's putting up the kind of number that could put him past, Rick Jackson. So you got an interesting situation in Oklahoma, and you got an interesting situation in Georgia, gubernatorial races where Trump-endorsed candidates are in some degree of trouble right now. Now, keep in mind, you did have the Donald Trump Jr. saying, either way, MAGA wins in this. And Jackson has tried to align himself very publicly, done nothing but align himself with Trump. And maybe it is I've thought about this as these primaries have played out in these Republican primaries. I've started to think there's a distinction in the type of Trump endorsement and its impact, where if Trump is endorsing against a candidate, right? Like, here's an incumbent who has been, disloyal to me, to my movement. I want this incumbent out of office. That seems to have that seems to pack a giant punch, right? He was able to get Massey out in Kentucky. He was able to get a whole slate of Republican state senators out in Indiana. He was able to get Bill Cassidy out in a landslide in Louisiana, United States Senator. He was able to take out John Cornyn at the last minute. He endorsed against Cornyn.
Yep.
Now, a lot of people say Cornyn was already on his way to losing, so we can the exact sort of cause of that defeat and the scale of that defeat. But I think Trump contributed to the scale of that defeat because it was enormous. So I think when Trump goes against a candidate, the impact is sizable. The dynamic you're seeing here, where Trump's candidates are having some trouble tonight, Jones versus Jackson. Trump has not come into this race and gone against Jackson.
Yeah.
He endorsed Jones. He endorsed him early. Then Jackson got in the race. But Jackson, as I say, has spent a ton of money and has aligned himself with Trump. And the Trump is running sort of a grassroots conservative activist, populist conservative fight in this race. So much that he got Trump's son, Don Jr., to say nice words about him on the department. Maybe. There it is.
Yep. We knew it.
Is projecting that Rick Jackson has won the Republican gubernatorial primary in Georgia. You advance to the general election. You'll face a Democrat, former mayor of Atlanta, Keisha Lance Bottoms. She won the primary without a runoff last month. That will be a closely watched gubernatorial contest this November in a state that you'll see as a prelude to 2028, when Georgia will be one of the centerpiece battleground states we expect in the presidential election. Again, Rick Jackson, self-funding candidate, businessman, got in this campaign relatively late, running against the Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones, who had aligned himself very closely with Donald Trump. Jones had done that particularly in the immediate wake of the 2020 presidential election, when Trump made claims about Georgia's election being, in his view, he claimed illegitimate. Republican leaders in Georgia, Governor Brian Kemp, Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, stood up to Trump then. Jones took Trump's side back then. Trump rewarded that with an endorsement of Jones. But in the end, Jackson was very competitive here. And as I said, on the eve of the election, Donald Trump Jr. put out a statement where he said this is not an endorsement of Jackson, but it sure read like one.
Yep.
It certainly read like they had made peace with Jackson winning his primary, and they seemed quite fine with it. Jackson had aligned himself, tried very hard to align himself with Trump and not make his candidacy seem like an affront to Trump. And clearly it seems has succeeded with that. So Rick Jackson wins this primary over Donald Trump's endorsed candidate. What we saw earlier in the night in Georgia on the Senate side, Mike Collins endorsed the final week of the campaign by Donald Trump over Derek Dooley, who'd been endorsed by Brian Kemp.
This is something where Jackson winning is not a surprise. Something I was kind of expecting.
From that tweet from Don Jr. in the last 48 hours, there'll be an attempt, certainly by the Trump side, to say they effectively.
But
I leave it to you to judge what you make of that. And over
I'm
Alabama now, sort of
hoping
over here in the Senate race,
that we can start getting some stuff with Alabama and DC and Oklahoma.
Barry Moore running with the endorsement of Trump against Jared Hudson. The dynamic here, I think, is very similar to what we just described in that Georgia gubernatorial contest, where Hudson, he's a former Navy SEAL, he is run this campaign as a populist, conservative, sort of activist-style candidate, an outsider. That's how he's portrayed himself. Very similar, I think, to what Jackson did over in Georgia. While he does not have the Trump endorsement, he's done nothing but try to align himself with Trump, again, to try to frame his candidacy not at all as some kind of attack on Trump. And as a result, I think Trump's involvement in this race has really been, he endorsed Moore relatively early in this thing, but this has not been one of these endorsements where Trump has come in and said, you better stop Hudson. I don't want Hudson. Hudson's a bad guy. So it's a very similar dynamic. We're going to dive into this one because this is taking center stage right now, but did you just tell me we got?
Yeah, we're going to do another check-in with news now in 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes now.
Okay, to do the Georgia call. Okay, so you heard that, folks. We're going to do a check-in So why don't we do this? It's inside of 2 minutes. We will pick up
But-
Alabama and really take the temperature there after this, because again, this is sort of taking center stage. We are not forgetting that in Oklahoma, only 1,300 votes right now.
Yeah, Oklahoma between Gendry Drummond.
Gendry Drummond, the state attorney general from Mike Mazie, the Trump-endorsed candidate here. Chip Keating, the son of the former governor, running in third place right there. Again, this is another place where that Trump endorsement. It'd be interesting if there were two tonight that Trump lost with his endorsement. We could talk about this on the other side too. There was some controversy around the circumstances of the Trump endorsement here for Mazie. It got quite a bit of attention in Oklahoma. I don't know if that's affected this. We could talk about that on the other side, but we're keeping an eye on that. We are keeping an eye on, but getting nothing out of Washington D.C. I don't know if we will, but that's going on right now. We're inside of a minute to this, so we're going to go back to the Georgia Senate primary. We're going to do this news now bit, and we'll pick up because folks. Okay, and folks, there may be a bit of an intro before coming into this, so just bear with us. I'm going to just take some water here because I can't wait to do Alabama. Oh, okay. So, folks, they're actually I don't know if you can't hear the program and a half. They're doing a bit of an intro and they're doing a bit of a reporter. So I'm going to jump over to Alabama. We will come back to this for the hit, but we might as well start diving into it. Because remember, what we were looking at there in Georgia was just that target number, right? Based on how the two-way vote went in the preliminary. And again, they're doing a report. I have them in my ear, so I'm a little halting what I'm saying because I'm also listening to the program while I talk to you. So again, in the preliminary in this race, more of the two-way vote would be more Hudson, more about 60. Hudson got 40, as we say, meaning in any given county, Moore can probably afford to lose about 10 points from whatever number he got
Right.
two-way in that county. That's roughly what we're looking at as a benchmark for how this election is playing out. So let's take a look. And we see Moore's leading overall. That seems like good news for him. Let's see if that actually matches up though at the county level. Because, for instance, Jefferson County is a very, very big piece of real estate. We expect to be very pro-Hudson. We don't really have much in the way of vote right there. Shelby County is a big piece of real estate. We also expect it to be because we don't have much out here. Looking for places where we go, okay, Talladega County, we've got some substantial vote right here. The two-way share for Moore in the primary here was 57. 10-point pad, he probably wants 47 as a bare minimum number. He's ahead of that number. He's substantially ahead of that number in Talladega County. Let's continue looking for places, looking for more than 22 if we got some places with, places with populations. Yeah, maybe Bedford's can choose this. Look, okay, here we go. 62% small, but the share in Coosa County for Moore preliminary was 58, meaning 48 is probably his bare minimum. But he's right at 58 right here. That's two counties. Here we see okay, Montgomery. This is big. Okay, state capital. All right,
Yeah, Montgomery County. It's gonna be a lot of the vote. I'm sorry, I'm tired tonight. 67% in. Moore is only 6 points behind. Yeah, he's now up to 35, but he's at 65.
But yeah, that's better right now for more than this for Hudson. 71, okay. The two-way share here for Moore was 7. two-way share here for Moore was 71, meaning he's kind of 61 would kind of be his bare minimum. Running at 64, 71%. Remember, this is not one of those states with an early vote, election day vote split. They're all kind of the same type of vote as the night progresses. So we do not expect the same kind of swings we see in Georgia. Okay, Dallas County here. We've got the two-way share here for Moore in the preliminary was 76. This is what Selma, Alabama is. And again, I didn't do the numbers here. He's running a point above his two-way share. So these are so far pretty encouraging numbers. If you're Moore, it means Hudson's going to have to blow the doors off around Michigan. Just listen to the show.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got another question. Okay, Huntsville. I've been hiking Huntsville. Let's put it Huntsville. I think we've got a little bit more vote here.
Mm-hmm.
This is where most of Huntsville is. The two-way share here was more. The two-way share here was more 61 in the preliminary. 61 would be a sort of the bare minimum. He's well over that.
I'm getting tired. It's looking like Barrymore is set up to be the nominee.
Really thought this one was going to be kind of for those regional differences. Yeah, Moore, Hudson, who knows? Well, that's a great number if you're Moore. If you're Moore, I think you're a lot more happy with what you're seeing than Hudson. Okay, they're coming in.
All right. I'll be back after the news now.
Here's the action tonight really in Georgia was this race here for the Senate, and then this gubernatorial race, obviously, which again the significance here we just called a few minutes ago here, Rick Jackson defeating Burt Jones, Trump's endorsed candidate, as you were just talking about there. A bit of a surprise, although it certainly seemed like the Trump folks were trying to get a little bit on board the Jackson bandwagon as this thing in the final days of his campaign.
Yeah, late endorsements are always interesting. Let's talk a little bit about the Alabama Senate runoff. What are you seeing in those results?
Yeah, they're really starting to come in now. Now we're up to about 40% of the vote in right here. Congressman Barry Moore against former Navy SEAL Jared Hudson in the runoff here. Moore running with the endorsement of Donald Trump. And so far, these numbers, I think if you're Moore, you're a lot happier with these numbers than Hudson. You see that the Hudson color right here, that tan, whatever exactly you want to call it. around the Birmingham metro area. This is a bit similar to what I just described with Derek Dooley in that Republican Senate race over there in Georgia. This sort of, metro
All right, love you,
area
Mom.
right around big city Birmingham here. That was Hudson's base in the preliminary. You see, that's where he's doing his best numbers tonight. I have not seen him in the returns tonight expand on that. We didn't expect him to do much in South Alabama because that's where Barry Moore's congressional district was, but up here, especially by Huntsville, Huntsville, these two counties right here, this is where I think Hudson had his opportunity and really needs to be doing a lot better. I can show you what's happening there. Needs to be doing better than that in a place like this is a very big county. Needs to be doing better than that. Half the vote counted right there. Limestone County, almost all the vote counted right there. Hudson running behind. This was sort of the sort of politically competitive territory. I'm not quite sure Hudson's getting the numbers he wants to see there yet, but there are still some opportunities for him. Specifically, I would say Birmingham here, Jefferson County, we have almost no vote in. This is a huge, city of Birmingham, it's huge. And then these are the big, giant suburbs right outside Birmingham. We got nothing from here yet. So what Hudson has to do is he has to put up some monster numbers in these two places as they come in, because so far what's been coming in is, I think, more friendly to Moore than to Hudson.
Interesting. Yeah, those numbers trickling in. Also, out here in California, there's a special election, Swalwell's seat. Should we expect one candidate to break out of the fray? Because almost a dozen names on that list, right?
Yeah, look, this is, and again, California top two primary. So you got Democrats, you got Republicans all on the same ballot. The rule here is if somebody does clear 50% tonight, that person will win. This is, again, just for what would end up being a few months in Congress. It's to fill the remaining months on the term that Eric Swalwell was elected to in 2024. Swalwell, remember, he was leaving the seat anyway, but then when he got hit with that scandal, he resigned from Congress altogether. And so there's a special election just to fill the remaining months on the seat. That's what this is here. This is an overwhelmingly Democratic district. Aisha Wahab here is running in a separate election for the full term, had finished first in the primary to that, a couple of weeks ago. So I think he's expected to lead the way here tonight. The question is, 50%, would she get the 50% to actually win this thing? She did not get 50% in that preliminary. So I don't think that's quite expected tonight, but it is possible.
Yeah, that's going to be quite the mountain for tonight. Steve Kornacki, thank you so very much. That's going to conclude this interview.
Okay, so folks, I don't know about you, but I had enough California in the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get out of California.
It's
Let's get out of California. Let's go back to Alabama.
not fun.
Where the action is right now.
California, but Alabama.
You do want to keep in mind here, Oklahoma. I mean, 1,268 votes. That's the margin right now. Drummond over Mazie. Again, Mazie, Trump-endorsed candidate here, continues to trail very narrowly in this race. 23% there in Tulsa. I'm using these distributions. There is more that's come in. Again, these are the two biggest counties by far. There's more that's come in here from Oklahoma County where Drummond has the advantage, there by a few points over Mazie. Mazie's got the advantage by a few in Tulsa. Again, this is sort of Mazie's political basis here. So I was actually kind of expecting him to be doing a bit better here. But let's see if that number improves for him, because that's an obvious opportunity for him. It's an obvious opportunity for him as that remaining vote comes in. But
and there is a runoff dynamics in Oklahoma. I can redirect you to some of the most recent results in Alabama. Coleman County, we just got some results in. Marshall, Baldwin, and Madison were some of the most recent reporting counties.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Marshall County. Okay, now this is the number here. This is one of the few places that Steve Marshall, the Attorney General, won. Not a surprise because this was his political base was up here. Marshall County, is big, right outside Huntsville here. One of the few that Steve Marshall had won in the preliminary. The two-way share of the vote here for Moore in that preliminary was 51%, meaning, again, we think he's got about a 10-point pad off that.
Right.
41, and he's running north of that number. So while that is a Hudson lead right there.
You want, if you're
80% of the vote
Hudson,
big county,
you want to be doing better than 53 in Marshall. You want to be having at least 58.
running ahead of that sort of bare minimum number. A fair bit ahead of that. He's right between what he got in the two-way share in the preliminary and what his bare minimum number there, I think would be. So again, that continues to be the numbers we've seen here that we've been crunching so far have been like this largely for more. You said Coleman, we also got some from too. We're at 70% here. And now this was a Hudson County in the preliminary. So the more number here, his two-way share was 41, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, even with the pad he might have in the two-way share, he probably won 31. He's running above that 41% number. So again, that's actually, while Hudson leads there, Hudson might want to be winning that by more. Now he's got to offset it somewhere. We got Morgan County here. We got most of the vote in here.
I don't know where he offset anything.
The share of the vote here in the preliminary was 59 for Moore. Remember, he had that big pad, and he's running very close to the 59 right there. Limestone, we've shown you, we're getting close to everything in Limestone. The Moore number was 60 in the preliminary. We got a big pad here for him, though. He's running at 56, so he's still pretty comfortably ahead of that number. Shows you Montgomery. We got Baldwin. This is now you're in Moore's congressional district here. And it's 43%, but just to give you a sense of it. Now here, okay, and this is big. This is, one of the biggest counties in the state population-wise. Look, Moore's two-way share was 74 here, down to 65. That's he's basically at the bare minimum of what he wants out of a county like this. So this is a place where can Hudson overperform here with the remaining vote? This is the kind of place where Hudson would want to overperform by a substantial margin because there's a lot of votes right there. Next door, Mobile County, about the same size. We got about a third of the vote here. Again, the two-way share for Moore. The preliminary here was 73. So down again, that's at the very low end of what he'd want to get out of there. Are we still at like 2% in Jefferson? We're at 4% in Jefferson. I want to get this up to 20 or something. Let's talk. Walker County here, two-way share for Moore in the preliminary was 49 down to 46. But Tuscaloosa County, Roll Tide, we got half the vote in. Again, this was a Hudson County in the preliminary, but it was narrow. Again, this was basically like a 50-50. Moore's two-way share was 49, and he's landing at 46. You see,
right.
We are seeing a pattern here. Let's just go through Moore's district, make sure he's kind of hitting numbers here. These are all in Moore's. That's interesting. We have about half the vote in Covington, and Moore got 79% of the two-way here. He's under 47%. He's under. We're in the Wiregrass region. I don't love the name. Coffee County, Moore got 87 of the two-way, 79. He's getting what he wants there, but not much more. Dale County, 86 was his preliminary. 74. That would be under a target for him there. This is his congressional district. 72% in Henry County. 75.6. 84 was his two-way number. So
still too early to call for the Senate runoff in Alabama.
He rolled up this monster number. Okay, we got, it's small, but we got 100%. This is basically all the vote here. 90 was Moore's two-way number here.
Yeah.
1 is where he lands tonight. So these are not, these are numbers where Hudson is kind of holding his own in Moore's district. We showed you Covington, 42 in Escambia County. Pensacola, Florida would be right down here. This is the Panhandle. 65%. Again, this is only 42%, but to give you a sense, 76.
Escambia.
Number could be. So there's Hudson is holding his own deep in the heart of Moore country.
Yeah.
The population centers that we're getting though,
it's just not enough.
The high population areas right around like Huntsville. Let's see if we got more vote from there. We're 52%. I think we just got more from Huntsville. We got like 35 the last time we checked, right? I may be remembering that wrong. 61, right? Moore's share here, two-way share in the preliminary was 61. That's a good number for Moore because he's close to that number and he had a lot of pad. Limestone we showed you. See, he's close. About at 60. He's down. He's 4 points off. He's got more pad than that, we think. Morgan, we showed you. Yeah. We showed you Marshall. Did we get more from Marshall? I feel like we got more since we checked in. but Moore's
Could have.
51 was 2A. He's got 47 right now. This is going to be really interesting. It's gigantic, big suburbs of, think of like Hoover, Alabama. Huge Republican bastion here. The two-way share here in the preliminary was 55-45. Hudson over Moore.
Mhm.
This is Shelby County. This is one of the reasons
Hudson County.
why Hudson was able to make it into the runoff. He did so well.
Or Shelby County for Hudson.
Got such good numbers.
Hudson needs to be polling at like 65. We're not polling, getting the vote at like 65. I didn't even see any exit polls from Shelby County, but I don't know if it'll be possible for him to get to 65.
I think when Shelby County comes in, Hudson wants to be in like 2 years of the vote. Let's see if he can do that, right? Like
At least.
Jefferson County, where we're at 4% right now.
Jefferson.
I think Hudson wants to be over 70% of the vote here. 75, something like he needs something kind of obscene out of there. Those are the kinds of again. Now this is where he was posting giant numbers in the preliminary, but I think he's going to need something like that to offset what we're starting to see in North Alabama. Let's. I'm going to go back to the state. Yeah. Oh, there it is. So you won't get it.
They just called
The
it.
decision desk has called it. Barry Moore wins the Republican runoff in Alabama, and he will be the overwhelming favorite in the general election here.
Yep.
More significantly, I think for our purposes, we came into the night saying that we were testing Donald Trump's endorsement. Trump endorsed Moore early in this campaign, and while Hudson tried to align himself close with Trump publicly, Trump's endorsement carries the day here. Moore wins this runoff, and again becomes the prohibitive favorite in the general election. This is the seat being vacated by Tommy Tuberville. He's running for governor. And so again, we take a look at Trump's record tonight in these races. The Senate race in Georgia, Trump's candidate Mike Collins wins there. The governor's race, Trump's candidate Burt Jones loses there.
Mhm.
The Alabama Senate runoff, Trump's candidate Barry Moore, we project will win there. The Oklahoma governor's race looks like we will head to a runoff, but Trump's candidate trailing there.
Yep.
The state attorney general Gentner Drummond. So to be continued, it would appear, is where we're headed in Oklahoma. Looks like Gentner Drummond and Mazie to be the two for a runoff there. A 2-1-1 record for Trump.
Excuse me.
2 wins, 1 loss, and 1 that is unresolved right here.
When's the runoff?
Let's see that.
August 25.
That Alabama call came a little sooner than I was expecting. I will be honest right there.
Yeah, I'm.
I wanted to see. I was wondering if you could get some giant number out of here, if that could offset it. But the damage to Hudson in places like Huntsville, I think is too much. It's clearly too much. We went through all the numbers up here. Florence, he was just not. Hudson needed to knock.
Yeah, Hudson needed a lot more. I didn't think. But I'm shocked that they called it early. We pretty much knew what it was going to be, but I'm shocked that it was officially called early.
News Now wants to do one more check. Okay. But with that, yeah, those are races tonight.
So folks, what we're going to do, we'll do one final check-in. Are they coming right now? 3 minutes. Why don't we, I hope you bear with us. I thank you for being part of this, as always.
Yeah.
We got 3 minutes. Do we have any comments? Do we have any questions? Do we have... Go ahead. Read anything.
Let me take the look.
This is your chance, folks. Fill in anything.
We did have a comment earlier. There's a lot of fans of the song "Stars Fell" on Alabama.
Bell, right. I didn't know if it was present or past tense.
But yes, I still have to go listen to that after the show today.
You've heard it. So put the comments in, folks. If it's negative, say it. It's okay.
People asking about DC. No results out of DC. We got a bulletin from there that folks were still waiting to vote, and they were waiting to release the results until that everybody had voted.
Yep.
What we'll cover for it to be like a midterm night. We're going to do all these races plus more. I'm excited for that one.
Yes, we are going to.
We can confirm that. What will the House margin be after the election?
Oh,
That's a question.
well, I don't answer it. I don't make predictions. Then I'll look like a fool.
We have a question here about Maine's second district.
Right.
I know they're running through their process now. I think we're supposed to get another update from them
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Any reactions to tonight? What can I look at these? How do I find them?
They're in the YouTube chat.
Okay, how do I get the link came in? Maybe I should go on YouTube. Oh, they sent me a link.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's the same link you've been promoting.
That's a good
On your social media feeds.
This is a very good one. But wait, 30 seconds. I found the link. And so far, the Oklahoma. They're on the Oklahoma Wage. Good job, Chris. Shocker and gubernatorial, GA gubernatorial department. Thank you, folks. They got a long intro, so I'm gonna, very intrigued that both of Kim's endorsed candidates lost. Yeah.
Yep.
The Democrats give us a preview of the next. Oh yeah, next key races next week. Yes, well that's what I'd like to do. I want to just do that quick. On the other side, we got this news now update. So folks, we'll do this here. Please stay with me because I just want to talk to you about what's next, and then we'll just do that.
Yeah. I'm hoping. I'm going to continue streaming.
I don't know.
And I'm hoping to continue until I don't know what's going on with DC Mayor. There are people still waiting in line now. I don't know if we're going to get anything tonight.
Is Chief Data Analyst Steve Kornacki over at the big board. Steve, what propelled Moore to victory?
Yeah, I think one way of looking at this map here in the Senate races, and roughly there were kind of three regions here. South Alabama is where Barry Moore is from. It's where his congressional district is from. And, you know, he was winning it. He was winning it by a solid margin. Hudson actually didn't, all things considered, do that badly down here, but this was a big area for Moore. You do see Hudson doing well here in the Birmingham area. And still some more folks to come there. But this was always going to be sort of the area that decided it, North Alabama. If you said Moore's going to get South Alabama, Hudson's going to do well around Birmingham. Who's going to win the Huntsville area? Huntsville's a big population center in Alabama, and it's only getting bigger. Now I need to show you what's happened up here. This is Madison County, where most of Huntsville is, and Moore's winning it. He's winning it south. And go next door here, Limestone County. This is also core Huntsville area. And again, it's double digits for Moore. You can even extend this out.
Darn it. How do I keep putting this thing on full screen?
In North Alabama, carrying the day for Moore. And I think that was sort of like, again, if the South was going to be for Moore and the Birmingham area was going to be for Hudson, who was going to win Huntsville in the North? And we've gotten our answer. And I think that answered the election for you, too.
Yeah, well, looking forward to November. I mean, does whoever wins the Democratic primary in Alabama have a chance against Moore?
Not unless there were a political upset in the scale. I can't quite remember because this is the backdrop of the general election in November.
Yeah.
A state that Donald Trump.
I don't see a Democrat pulling that one off.
So
in Alabama, no.
Representing a state, there is no Democratic senator representing a state that went for Trump by anything even remotely approaching the scale of this. So, you know, I think this was, we talked about this. There's a mayor's race in Washington, D.C. tonight with the Democratic primary. We've been saying, look, for all intents and purposes, the Democratic primary is going to decide who the next mayor is. A Republican primary in Alabama, for all intents and purposes, is deciding who the next senator is.
Historical context says it all. Steve Kornacki, thank you so much. That's going to
All right. Well, we did see an upset. As I finished saying that to Gotti, we did see an upset on a scale like that once in the last 10 years. It was in Alabama.
Yeah.
Remember the Doug Jones winning in 2017, although the circumstances that propelled Doug, we don't need to enumerate them here, but I think you know those circumstances were extraordinarily unique. And then when Jones had to face the voters a couple years later for the full term, under different circumstances, he lost handily. So, anyway, we wanted to talk about what's next before everybody. Next week, I'm going overseas. NBC Sports is sending me to England. I'm going to Royal Ascot. It's going to air on NBC this Saturday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. You know, Royal Ascot, Windsor Castle, the King and Queen are there. The horse races are going up. It's an incredible cultural event. I have to dress up in a top hat and tails for it. They give me this hat. They let me borrow it for the day. You know, it's super heirloom and they give it to me. I can't figure out why. I asked somebody, why are they nuts about their hats over here? They said the hat costs $10,000. It's made of some kind of thing that doesn't exist anymore. They let me borrow it for the show. So tune in to see me wear these hat. I hope I don't break it. And then I'll come back from that trip. And next Tuesday, New York primaries. Oh my goodness, we got big ones in New York.
Maryland, New York, Utah, South Carolina, June 23. I'm going to do. I'm doing June 23. I'll be a little late. June 27, August 4, and August 18. I should be on time.
House races there in New York. Some are going to have ramifications for the general election. Others are poor Democratic districts, but they're going to tell you something really interesting about the state of the Democratic Party. June 27th, we got that Louisiana runoff. We saw Bill Cassidy go down in the preliminary there. Who will win the runoff? We will do that. And then, bit of a break. July's going to be slow. Maybe you know the political calendar, but we will be back on August 4th in a huge and massive way because look at that screen closely. You see a bunch of state abbreviations there. Look at them on. Michigan. That Michigan Democratic Senate primary. What an interesting race that is in the primary. What a potentially interesting race that is in the general election. And on August 4th, we're going to get to do Michigan. And I don't mean to slight Kansas, Missouri, Virginia, or Washington, but Michigan, man, we center stage that night. I am looking forward to August 4th. Coming at you too. So that is the schedule.
Good House primary in Missouri as well.
What's that?
Good House primary in Missouri.
Speak up for the other ones. I might be Michigan.
Yeah.
I'm a UP guy.
It's going to be a fun night. But, and also, just a plug for DC Mayor race, which will eventually come in California. All the results will be on NBCnews.com, and you can stay tuned for that or any of these other races to the bitter end on the website.
Still want to know what Shelby's going to do in where Shelby's. I wish we
tune in to NBCnews.com later tonight. You'll find out.
But I hope. Okay. So thanks everybody. This was great, and I hope I can make it back safely. Make it over safely. I'm scared of air travel, and I'll see you next. I hope I'll see you next.
All right. Now it's my turn to analyze everything. I'm gonna turn my screen off for a little bit. Turn the TV off. Quit the screen sharing. And now I'm gonna have to have my phone going for this. We're still waiting on the California primary. Remember, I'm not gonna have my spreadsheet open though. Oklahoma 1. Yeah, the Oklahoma House ones. Excuse me. It's gonna be Oklahoma 1, Oklahoma Sun. So yeah, it's these ones here in Oklahoma. There's just a couple ones that I want to see. And then I should probably check and see if there's any house ones in Alabama that we're still waiting, or Alabama or Georgia. Yeah, just about every election day for as long as I stream on YouTube, I'm going to be covering. And I hope that you all join me for it. We really don't have anything in the Alabama House to pay attention to right now. Okay, yeah, everything's been called for the Republicans. Is there any weird? The only thing that I'm seeing is District 11 is the weirdest one. With runoff for the Republicans between Cohen and Atkerson. District 1 and District 7 have it for Dems. And Andrew Clyde is won the House nomination for District 9. Alright, share screen. Share this window. Alright. 1 second. I'll leave y'all in Oklahoma. All right. Well, Oklahoma governor primary, it will go off to a runoff. I was looking. Here's where you're gonna want to do good. Is this here, Oklahoma County? I think this is what they were waiting for. Drummond and Maisie, Merrick, Drummond, Maisie, and Canadian, Lincoln, Drummond, Merrick, Maisie. So where's the other one that I want to see? Tulsa. Excuse me. Drummond, Maisie. Yeah, Maisie, Drummond. All right. Well, this is something that we finally got results on. Oklahoma Senate primary, looking like Nikila Thomas. Will go on for the Democrats. House District 4, nothing. District 5. We got some more vote. Namely here in Oklahoma County, which is where the bulk of the district is. Oklahoma House. Oh, we have a projection that it's going to be Tedford and Lamar there. Butterfield's out. Not a huge shock, but this is a district where whoever will be favored up against Cryan. Nothing from DC. Yeah, it's just these four, and then the one in California. Oh, probably hold on until I don't know if I'm gonna hold on for California. That's gonna be kind of late. But maybe. Or no, because that's been 9 o'clock. I'm thinking maybe another 15 minutes. Oh, District 4 was called for Jacob over Pixley. Not a huge shock, and this is one that the Republican is almost guaranteed to win. And Cleveland County is the bluest county, either Cleveland or Comanche, but it's very unlikely that the Republicans can pick up this seat. Or that the Democrats can pick up this seat. Apologies for that. I can't speak today. Okay, also in District 5, Gina Nelson, the projected winner over Trey Martin for the Democrats. Nelson leading here in Oklahoma County, which does not include the Oklahoma City portion, but does include Edmond. Potawatomi, I can't remember if there were anything there to look out for. Seminole, that's just a little bit of the vote. Canadian, that is part of these two are going to be the big vote getters. This one mainly, Oklahoma, but you got to be doing well in Canadian. Logan County, not much of an impact. And then, why am I zoomed in this much? And Lincoln County is basically a non-player at this point. And same with the big batch is coming out of Oklahoma County, and then the second most is from Canadian County. So, mind you, not all of Oklahoma County is in for this. And that's where we're waiting for the rest of the vote, which is why they're only saying 75% of the expected votes are in. So, yeah, at least quarter or at least 3/4 of the vote is going to be there. Now, here's where it gets interesting between Priest, Thomas, and Green. Thomas is advancing. Where's the major outlying? It's just only 1/4 of the vote in from Tulsa, or Priest is leading over Green. And we needed some in from Oklahoma, where Priest is also. Where could Green make up vote here? Where is Troy Green leading over Priest with a significant population? This zooms in on cities. You see, in Comanche County, Priest leading over Green. Cleveland, it's Priest over Green. Canadian, which is not as big, but has some of the Oklahoma City suburbs, including like the largest Oklahoma City suburbs, even though there aren't really many. Again, Priest over Green. Oklahoma County has Priest over Green. Is there anywhere Green has it? Texas County? Anywhere where Thomas is first and Green is second. In Tulsa County, Priest leading over Green. This seems to be the trend, so I guess Priest needs to just Green needs to do better in these counties that he's carrying. So we've already looked into. Yes, it is. I can always zoom in a bit more and see if any other. Okay, here it's Green leading over Priest, but it's by 10, and it's a tiny county. There's really nothing. No way I could see this going in Green's favor at the moment. I mean, you got anything, Sumerian? Finn Fishbowl's Blue Jungle Green Salmon. No, these aren't by any these aren't any colors associated with anything other than the candidates and they are randomly assigned. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. No, it's looking like we're not going to get anything in from DC tonight. People are still um in the in there, and if we can maybe, and it's looking like this will go into multiple days. I might keep track of the races that I've been keeping track of for a while now, but right now this is the big one. I'm actually gonna no, I'm not gonna close the tab unless we get something. It does. It really does. But again, you've got Louis George here, who's running as like the sort of progressive, going up against Kenyon McDuffie, who is the Bowser endorsed candidate. So, this will be interesting to see. Whether that Bowser endorsement is going to help or hurt. Would be better if the other candidate was Mario. I mean, could be. But yeah, you just want what you want is that when you have someone unpopular, an endorsement could hurt rather than help. Again, where is it? No. I think we're waiting for Oklahoma County and Tulsa County. Now, again, as I said earlier, the big ones that you're going to want to keep your eye on to get an idea of how Oklahoma County is going to go, you're going to want to keep your eye on Logan County. You're going to want to keep your eye on Grady County. And you want to keep your eye on Canadian County. Canadian County is the largest of all of these, and it's one that I have followed closely because it's one where usually it votes very similarly to Oklahoma County. I mean, it's going to be evidence more here where you see 4-point difference between the two. Here where it's 47-21 and 52-20. Yeah, this whole area. Where is it? We have there we just got it. Jim Priest will win this, will advance to the runoff over Troy Green. Where did we get that vote bunch from? Where is it? That's it. Yep, that's Tulsa County for you. That is going exactly as I was expecting it to. And it's looking like, excuse me, that was what pushed Priest over the edge over Green. This is all we're waiting for. I'm going to see if we have an update when DC will start reporting votes. Yeah, Lewis, George, and McDuffie are going to expect it to be the. I'll give it maybe a few more minutes. Bye. Actually, I think it's best if I also go. It's been fun. Good night.